A warm welcome to real-time SharePoint end-user CRUD operations. Hi, this is me, Thangu. This is just a small illustration on how SharePoint end-user CRUD operations can help many in real time. Some of the common CRUD operations in SharePoint as an end user will be with sites, lists or libraries, users, and pages. You might be creating sites or creating pages, adding and removing users, or creating files on images and uploading them in libraries, or just adding data like adding data to a SQL server. Most of the common operations over my experience in SharePoint, the common operations are to create sites, or many organizations already have the sites created, and my role was to update the sites, change the color, or add content, or add web paths, or add users as and when they create the site, and help the users to remove the users. And during migration, we had to do a lot of analysis for all the old sites, and my role was to delete old sites if it was not used for a particular time. And many users in SharePoint create lists, and they have to create site columns and content types, and you might be called for to support them, especially for the site columns and content types, because it's a little bit tricky. So I had to support the end users to just fix the issue creating site columns and content types. And during migration, the content types might create some problems. So, and some of the other CRUD operations was to create the views and then add that to the home page. For example, there was a project to have registration for classes, and in the home page we add the register button, which will take the user to the new form.aspx of the list, and then the list of users will be coming from a list, and a special view was created showing the just the date and the registration date. And the most common operation apart from all this is to maintain the web paths or add new web paths based on the needs. So some of the famous operations was definitely the chart web part. Long back we had the Excel web part, and then as a coder I had to use specifier charts, but for end users it's recommended to use a chart web part, which was available in 2010. It was stopped in 2013. Luckily in Office 365 now a chart web part is also available. And for showing dashboards or percentage, we had the KPI. So coming to the history, from the beginning in SharePoint, we always had the SharePoint list and the SharePoint library. Long ago, the data in SharePoint was not stored in SQL Server. Slowly in SharePoint from MOS 2007, the data was stored in SQL Server, and it was much better. But in MOS 2007, there was no Ajax. It was little clumsy. In 2010, the Ajax feature was there, and model pop-up was there, a lot of pop-up for many links, and we had the ribbon icon, and the chart web part was available. From SharePoint 2013, we had many ECB menus, like we could share the list item or document or share the page to many users. And 2016 or Office 365 is really great, and it's improved a lot. We have the OneDrive, we have column formatting, which is a very cool feature. And if you want to use dynamic charts, very powerful charts, you can use Power BI. And we have forms, not the InfoPath forms. There is some Microsoft Forms itself, a special app from the app launcher. And the cool thing is we have the auto refresh of data. So overall, for CRUD operations in SharePoint as an end user, coming to the database point of view, you just understand that you might have to create a SharePoint list, understand the columns, and then if you're a developer, just I had to prepare technical design documents, understanding all the columns, deciding the data type, what is the column type, whether it's a calculated or a location, whether it's a lookup. You also have to think long term, and whether you're pulling the data from external source, then you might be using BCS. And most of the projects are over with just SharePoint list views. This is more than enough. That's my personal recommendation. Many times I feel that people might call the developers, but the actual output you have to give is just the SharePoint list views. List views are extremely powerful, which is more than enough to solve most of the business scenarios. So, some of the precautions which you need to take is think long term. Do not have too many columns. So many times I was called at the end of the project after 1 or 2 years to do the database redesign and then start from the scratch, which is not a good idea. Better to do a lot of planning before you create the site columns. Diligently sit, though it looks simple, SharePoint list, create new column, create new item, create new view. You might have to sit and plan, do the database design planning, and do not have too many columns. Don't have 30 or 50 columns. Let the columns be minimal, split it to different tables, and think long term. How will the data be after 2 years? So if you are expecting more than 2000 or 5000 records, you might need to have records management feature. Move the old data to another list in an archival list. So just do planning like how much data is planned to come, and do not create folders. So this is a good tip I learned from OS 2007 itself. So instead of creating folders, try to create columns so that they can be available in search results. And always try to use the out of box features or web paths or app paths which are already available. And no need to, from the beginning in SharePoint, it's always recommended to use whatever feature SharePoint is giving you and not jump to development unnecessarily. So in Office 365, we are now in Office 365, or most of you might be using SharePoint 2016 or 2013. So I am really enjoying the column formatting feature. There's a lot of things you can do with column formatting, a lot of conditional operation. So you can display the data using column formatting with different colors, and you can add buttons, you can add graphics. There's a lot of features available with column formatting. I'm actually writing articles in comical format and sharing it on LinkedIn every day. And there is auto update of data. So when I was coding and I'm trying to do the list updation in PowerShell, I look at the screen, it automatically shows without any refreshing. So that's a wonderful feature. And when you observe, Microsoft keeps changing the location of list settings. Suddenly it was not available and now it's available in the list page itself. And you have the classic experience and the new experience is very nice. And you have the pin feature for document libraries, and now special characters are allowed, and online editing of documents are allowed. You can create a new Word document and work online itself. An autosave feature is there. There's tons and tons of good feature, improved features in uh, Office 365 for SharePoint lists and libraries, and it's constantly improving. Long back, I had to code using Lightbox, and now the pictures are available as a nice Lightbox kind of experience. There's a lot of improved, enhanced experience for SharePoint lists and libraries, and hope you enjoy using the out-of-box end-user CRUD operations in SharePoint itself. No need to really jump into development. SharePoint is a beautiful product, and hope you all enjoy SharePointing. Take care. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.